And I would like to welcome Kavita Ghandi from Swissaid, who will give us an example of rural migration because of resource scarcity. She is also joining us online remotely and is joined by Valentina Maggiulli from Swissaid, who is here with us today. A warm welcome to you, Valentina. Do you need a microphone? Yes. And I don't know if Kavita is already here. Let's see.
Yeah. Hi.
Yes,
Hello,
hi,
everyone.
hi, Kavita Ghandi. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Revina.
So I give the floor to you and to your colleague, please.
Thank you, Nicoletta, and thanks to Caritas for the invitation and for the opportunity to contribute to this symposium. I'm very happy that Caritas this year chose the topic of migration and climate change because this is also very close to our hearts at Swissaid. Swissaid's main focus is on introducing agroecological practices with small-scale farmers in 9 partner countries, and the majority of those farmers are actually women. Farmers in the south are heavily affected by climate change, and many of them are forced to give up their small plots, and as they simply cannot feed their families anymore and make a living. We are confronted with farmers' migration to other rural areas, and they work on plantations, and to urban areas where they just have the opportunity to work in odd jobs. But one of the examples is India, where climate change has had a very negative impact already on millions of people. And we have heard in the previous presentations today how India was affected and will be much more affected in the future. Therefore, I'm very much delighted that Kavita Ghandi, our country representative, is joining us today online, and she will introduce the challenges of farmers in India, but also provides a glimpse how Swissaid is supporting those farmers in their climate adaptation, and then that they can work and have a decent living again. I would like to make you aware that we also have recently a new publication, which is Agrobiodiversity on a Plate. It's available in French, English, and German. And if you haven't taken a copy yet, there are many on the table outdoors. I'm very much looking forward to the further exchanges today, but I give the floor now to Kavita. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valentina. A very good morning to everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here and share how climate and migration are manifesting in India. My name is Kavita Ghandi, and I'm the country representative for Swissaid in India. So I would be speaking about the topic of migration by taking the example of Odisha, which is a state in the eastern part of India here, and the specifically looking at one district, which is called Bargarh, which is located in the northern part of the state. Now, coming to the state, Odisha is one of the states which is most vulnerable to climate change. It is also a state which sends workers to many different states in the country. The poverty levels are quite high in the state. Around 30% of the people are poor. And the state has a high percentage of indigenous population. Now, coming specifically to the district of Bargarh, one finds that the district has farmers with small landhold of around 1 hectare. There are also many landless people in the villages, and farmers who have very small land holdings, like 1 acre or even less. Agriculture in this area is mainly rain-fed, and drought and heat waves are quite common. The temperature can be as high as 44 degrees Celsius, and heat strokes are reported on a regular basis. Swissaid had commissioned a study to understand how climate change is impacting livelihoods, and there was an analysis looking at the temperature data for 68 years, and
Oh, we are not able to hear you, Kavita. I don't know if you're muted. I don't think so.
hello.
Yes, now we can hear you again. Sorry. Sorry to have interrupted you, but we weren't able to hear you.
Okay, let me just change my internet connection. I think it's a bit unstable.
It works well now.
Okay, yeah, no, just to be. Okay, so overall, what we found when we analyzed the temperature and rainfall data, am I audible now?
Yes, 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 please go ahead.
Okay, so that the temperature has increased. The number of very hot days have gone up. The rainfall has become very erratic, both the annual rainfall and the monsoon rainfall. The monsoon is setting in late. It is setting in July when usually it comes in June. So it's a 1 month delay. And the number of consecutive dry days has increased. And overall, the drought vulnerability has also gone up. I am not able to. Okay, sorry. So if one looks at the temperature, I wanted to show you in this slide that on the left-hand side, you see the map of the district, and it shows that overall the temperature has increased by 0.875 degrees Celsius. And on the right side, you can see a graph which basically is showing when is it that the temperature is high, and it shows that the temperature is high not just it is high annually, it is high in the monsoon season as well as in the winter season. And what this means is that farmers tell us that it is becoming very difficult to farm during the, the monsoon season because it is hot, and the incidence of pests and diseases has also gone up. Now, in terms of rainfall, on the left-hand side, you can see the graph shows you the annual rainfall, and the rainfall here has always been very cyclical in nature. But in the last 20 years, the rainfall has become more erratic. And the graph on the right side shows the consecutive wet and dry days. And one finds that while the number of dry days has increased, the consecutive wet days has gone down, and therefore the probability of drought has also increased. Now, coming to the issue of migration has been happening from this district since 1970s, and it is linked to the overall poverty and vulnerability of the population. The communities tell us that it started in the 70s when the forest degraded and when the landholding size also became small. And initially, the people who migrated were people who belonged to the socially vulnerable groups. So it was the Dalits and the lower caste, the indigenous people who migrated, and then the so-called better caste people started migrating. If we look at economically, it was the landless people, the sharecroppers, and then now even the farmers with 2.5 hectares of land, they are migrating. One finds both short and long duration migration. Short migration is around 2 to 6 months, and long duration is around 1 to 2 years. They migrate either singly or the entire family migrates. It actually depends on the type of work they're migrating for. So if it is to work in a brick kiln, it would be the entire family because a man and a woman would make a unit. If it is to work as a security guard or to work in the hospitality industry, then or to work in the garment industry, it would be the man in the family who would migrate. And migrants, they are working in the informal sector and they have in low skill or unskilled jobs with very little social protection. If we look on the right hand side is in the map, I'm trying to show the migrant flows. So from this state of Orissa here, Vargar, you have people are migrating to around 8 states in India. And there is, in terms of number of people who are migrating, there is no recent data, no survey, government survey, which tells us how many people are migrating. But there was a study which was done by a philanthropy, which looked at one block, and they found that 60% of the households, there was one person or more who had migrated. Now, in this slide on the right-hand side, you can see the type of work which people migrate for. So you have youth who are working in the garment industries in very small enterprises, which are supplying material to the hosiery mills. Then you have women working as agricultural laborers in the command area, in the irrigated area, for transplanting and harvesting paddy. You have the brick kiln work down here below, and then working as construction laborers. So what are the reasons for migration? One, of course, that the land holdings are very small. The farm is dependent on the monsoons. And therefore, after farmers harvest their crop in November, December, there's no employment available and locally, so they have to migrate in search of work. And secondly, what has happened in India, we have a situation where the farmers, the agriculture is not viable, where we find that in many years farmers are not even able to get back the cost of cultivation. So this also affects their earnings from agriculture, which also leads to migration. Overall, one finds that climate change has increased the vulnerability because it is, as I had shared, it is a rain-fed agriculture. And with the increased erratic rain, there is a lot of crop loss and crop damage, which is happening. We do have government programs which provide employment, but these are not implemented effectively. Now, in terms of what are some of the challenges faced by migrants, brick kiln workers are one big group of migrants, and one finds that they have to work really long hours. They work around 14 hours a day, and they live at the work sites without proper shelter, without basic amenities of water and sanitation. Many times the contractors pay them in advance. They come to the villages, they give them 40 to 50,000 rupees per person in advance. And so they are bound to work for this person. Most times this brick kiln work is in another state where the language is different. So when the children migrate together with their parents, even if they join school, they're not able to follow the instructions given by the teacher because it's in another language. Elderly are left alone, and with the hope that neighbors will take care of them if something goes wrong, if they fall ill. Another big group is the youth who migrate to work in the garment factories, and they also say that they have to work long hours and they do not really get consistent work. So there are times in the year when there are huge gaps in their employment, and they have to, take a residence on hire. They have to pay for their food. So they're not able to save much. They're only able to save 2,000 to 3,000 rupees in a month. And while the government has support services, we do have the food aid where subsidized food grains are provided at the rate of, the wheat is provided, for example, at the rate of 3 rupees per kilo, rice at 2 rupees per kg. and there's access to health services, either free or highly subsidized in government hospitals or in private hospitals which are impaneled. But when the migrants migrate to another state, then there's issues relate and challenges faced in terms of portability of this government support. In terms of, I guess, the question which would be coming to the mind would be like, how is climate change really, what are the numbers in terms of, how is it increasing migration in this area? So there's no specific data for this district, but there is a report at an India level in 2020, which said that there are around 3 million climate-induced migrants in India. Now, coming to what is it that Swissaid is doing? So our main thrust of building sustainable livelihoods is through promotion of agroecology and potential crops. So we are working with farmers who have around 2.5 acres of land or more. And we are focusing on identifying and popularizing farmer seeds, which are climate resilient. We are promoting diversity on the farms through mixed farming, through establishing nutrition gardens. We are promoting preparation of bio inputs, better agronomic and also different agroecological practices through establishing demonstration plots. We are trying to bring back millets, which are a hardy crop and which are also very nutritious, and trying to add to income through promotion of agri-allied activities such as poultry. So our work until 2 years ago was mainly on the production side, but now we have realized that it is important to work on the income side as well. And now we are working on market development for agroecological produce. So here we are focusing not on the mega cities, but our focus is the district in which the intervention is going. So we are focusing on transforming the local food system, starting with the rural markets, the peri-urban and the urban market. And there is a lot of work around consumer awareness about balanced diet. And so we are organizing nutrition campaigns, establishing school nutrition gardens, organizing seed festivals where we are talking about the traditional seeds and their nutritional properties, food festivals to showcase the traditional food recipes, organizing cooking classes for women to promote the traditional food. We are linking the farmers to organic retailers in the urban markets. We are establishing separate places for organic sellers in the rural market. And to promote the consumption of potential crops, we are also getting into development of new products that will enhance their consumption. So overall, what is it that we've been able to achieve? Through our work, farmers are cultivating agroecology, are adopting agroecological practices for their self-consumption. So they're eating diverse food, they're eating safe food. There is greater consumption of vegetables in their food now. There is a saving because they are using their own inputs. So they are also saving because their vegetables, they have their nutrition gardens and they can get their vegetables from there. And farmers also tell us that in terms of health, there's an improvement in their health because they are eating safe food free from chemicals and because also they are spraying less pesticides. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kavita Ghandi. Do you hear me? I hope you hear me. Thank you very much for the information, and maybe we will have some questions for you afterwards.